5th. And today's chapter is called The Special Delivery. It was George. He had been snoring, as always, but was now awake. He padded softly over to the group and yawned, loudly. Want to get to Paris, eh? He said sleepily. Winston nodded. Said George. I think I might just have an idea. Everyone leaned forward eagerly to listen. Why don't you post yourself? George said. And then he sat back on his tail feathers and closed his eyes once more. Post myself? Squeaked Winston. George opened an eye. Yes, that's the idea. Pop yourself into an envelope, get addressed to Prue's cousin, and then you'll be in Paris in an instant. The post is whizzing about like mad at the moment. It'll be far quicker than walking there, especially on those little paws. Is that possible? Asked Eduardo. Can mice post themselves? Said Prue. Winston didn't know, but he was going to find out. His mind was racing. We'll have to go back to the toy shop, he said, and I have to find an envelope and type a label, and... He was interrupted by Edna. No, she said. That will take far too much time. You'll have to go straight to the post office and sneak in there. They'll have everything you need, envelopes, stamps, all that sort of thing. She turned to Pamela. Pam? What time do the post trucks leave the post office? Pam grinned. Oh, I've just had a wonderful idea, she said. Why doesn't young Winston post himself to Paris? Everyone looked at her. Oh, she said with a giggle. Has someone already said that? Well, Edna quickly went over the plan again. Thankfully, Pam got it this time, and she gave them the information they needed. The trucks set off from the post office at 10 o'clock sharp. Everyone squinted down at the clock on the nearby tower. They only had 10 minutes to get Winston on his way to Paris. Suddenly, there was a lot of action. After saying a hurried goodbye and thank you to Edna, George and Pamela, Winston and Eduardo leapt onto Prue's back, and she hurtled down the spiral stairs of the cathedral spire. It was dizzying, and Winston felt a jumble of emotions. Excitement, anticipation, panic. He had to get on that post truck. Prue burst out of the tower and shot like a fluffy white cannonball down the aisle, startling a choir master who'd come to tidy the cathedral in readiness for the morning. She tumbled out onto the street and dashed through the crowds, weaving this way and that through the legs of people leaving restaurants and theatres. On her back, Eduardo and Winston clung on for dear life as they were bobbled about in the rush. Eventually, they arrived at the post office, and not a moment too soon. Parked outside on the road, its engines belching great clouds of exhaust into the night sky, was a truck. A man was already hurling enormous, well-stuffed sacks full of mail into the back of it. Quick! Squeaked Winston, and he and Eduardo dived off Prue's back, tumbling tail over ears until they crashed into the door of the post office. With Prue acting as lookout on the street, the two rodent chums wiggled away through the low letterbox and into the shop. It was dark inside, but there was just enough light from a small twinkling Christmas tree on the counter for them to see by. Eduardo immediately rummaged around in drawers to find a suitably mouse-sized envelope. Then Winston hopped onto the typewriter to hammer out the address Prue had given him. M. Gaspard Pantoufle, number 804 Rue des Canelles, Paris, France, with urgent written down the bottom. They stuck on as many stamps as they could find to make absolutely sure it would get to its destination before wiggling away back outside, dragging the envelope with them. Hurry Hurry up, mewed Prue. He's on his last few bags. The pile of sacks had diminished and only a couple remained on the pavement. Winston dived inside the envelope and Prue poked a few air holes in it with her claw. She was just about to lick the sticky edge shut when Winston realised that he would have to head off on this next part of his adventure alone. There was no room in the envelope for Eduardo or Prue. It was a frightening thought. He was going out into the big wide world by himself, to somewhere completely unknown, to find someone he only half remembered. Would he find the mysterious singer from his memories? Or would he get hopelessly lost miles from his home and his friends? Prue and Eduardo could tell that Winston was very worried. Eduardo gave him a tight squeeze and Prue nuzzled him softly with her velvety nose. "We will be waiting for you when you come back," she said. "Creme brulee!" said Eduardo heartily. He actually meant bonne chance, which means good luck. Winston giggled, feeling braver already. He nestled down inside his envelope while Prue stuck it shut and put it into the last mail sack. Almost immediately, the bag was hurled into the lorry and the engine revved. With a final peek through one of the holes in his envelope, Winston saw his friends waving to him as he set off on his adventure into the night.